He who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow. Friedrich Nietzsche. The art of speaking your why, and more specifically in the context of presentations, understanding why you want to master public speaking in the first place is a lot more important than you think because of how challenging the art is. And that's exactly why in this week's episode of Master Talk, I'm going to teach you exactly how I coach my clients to discover their public speaking why, so they know exactly why in the world they're putting up with me in the first place. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing amazing. Brendan from Master Talk here, your go-to channel to mastering your talk. And today we're talking public speaking why, so let's discover it. Number one, is there anything in your life that you desire that requires strong communication skills? Whenever you coach a client on mastering communication, the question isn't, you need to master public speaking, you need to get better, but rather painting a picture as to what that life looks like. So whenever I ask this to people I work with, I say, hey, make a list of all of the things that you want to do in life and cross-reference that list with what actually requires public speaking skills. So someone would say, oh, I started this company and we're going to create this revolutionary product that's going to change the world. So my question back to them is, what if you don't master communication? They're always going to say, well, if I don't master communication, then I won't be able to share that message for the world. So then I go back to them and I say, then what is your public speaking why? They say, well, to sell my product. And I say, no, your public speaking why is to make sure that every child and every person that uses your product, their lives get better. Think about Airbnb and the founder of the company, Brian Chesky, with his two other co-founders. Whenever Brian Chesky presents Airbnb and he talks about the product, it's not about selling, it's about creating a world where everyone can belong everywhere. Because if everyone used Airbnb, the world would be more connected. So that is the public speaking why. So what you need to do is to create a list of the benefits that you will have, not just for you, but the world that you serve if you became a master communicator. Number two, can you help me imagine a world in which you are a great speaker? This is a great question to ask yourself because it helps you imagine a world where, hey, if I speak this way, how many lives will I impact? Using the Airbnb example again, if I can speak and impact thousands and thousands of lives and speak better on camera also, there's millions of people that will now start to use the product and feel more connected to other people. But that doesn't just apply to your business, right? It also applies to every area of your life. What if you could communicate better with your spouse because of all the arguments that you have with her or him, and you're unclear and you're always miscommunicating, that always leads to tension? What if you could communicate so clearly that they would understand every single word that you would say? Well, then your world would be a lot better, not just for the money that you make or the message that you have, but also with your love life. And that's also true with your friends and family, and the list can go on. So what I make my clients do is I make them spend a day doing this so they really understand this. A good analogy I like to give is learning a new language. Whenever we talk to someone, we say, why do you need to learn a new language? Why do you need to learn English, for example? They would always say, I need to learn English because it will help me on the job market. And I was like, okay, that seems boring. Do you like to travel? And they would say, yeah, I love to travel. Then I say, well, how would English help you with that? Oh, well, if I could travel and I knew how to speak English, I could talk to everybody. Build on that, right? Then what would happen? Well, if I could speak to everyone in English, I would start to learn new insights, discover new cultures. And also, I always wanted to bring my wife along. I don't have a wife, but I would always want to bring my wife along on a trip. And now since I speak English, I can hold her hand and make her discover the world that I promised her. Oh, now learning a new language ain't about learning English anymore, is it? It's all about the transformation and the outcomes that you now desperately desire. And finally, number 3, would the world be better off if you mastered communication? Why or why not? This question encompasses everything that we've learned in this video, and it helps us understand why we're doing it in the first place. And I'm no exception to this rule. When I started Master Talk, I had so many reasons not to. Who am I to make these videos? Who am I to share these tips with people? I don't have a PhD in communication. But when I answered that question for myself, that's when I started to realize the impact of what I had to offer for people. Because if I can master communication and share my tips with the world, it means every single human being that will come after me will have the knowledge, the insight, and the expertise to know exactly how to master their message. Because communication is one of the few things in life that is timeless. It doesn't matter how much technology advances. It doesn't matter how much time passes. These tips will serve forever. And that's when I was left with a crossroad. Do I just go about my normal life, or do I spend a lot of time, money, and resources to create resources for everyone else like you? And I made that decision. So what does that mean for you? It means that being a good communicator isn't about being good at all, but rather creating an experience where everyone can learn from you, where everyone is incentivized to share their message because you made the decision to. Another thing I want to point out is why statements, or what if statements as I like to call them, that I got from Nicole Gibson. And these questions help us realize the bigger impact of what we're doing in the world. And my what if question is, what if the world had the courage to share their story? Well, we would realize that our stories matter, and more importantly, that we matter. When we start to make presentations about everyone else but ourselves, well, our communication skills, and more importantly, our public speaking why, becomes indefinite. At the end of the day, finding your public speaking why is not an easy process. You have to go through a lot of hoops, and you have to ask yourself the hard questions about your life. But if you can find it, and that why is so strong that it encompasses your very way of being, you'll have a message that you'll desperately want to share with the world. It won't matter anymore how scared you are on stage. It won't matter anymore the nerves that you have. And more importantly, it won't matter anymore what other people think of you. Because your why is so strong that it doesn't matter anymore. As always, if you enjoyed this week's episode of Master Talk, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to see more videos like this. And if you know someone that's a good communicator that's struggling to find a reason to keep going, to stay motivated in public speaking, then send them this video so that they'll be one step closer to figuring out why they want to master public speaking in the first place. Take care.